Funding for this program is provided by Annenberg CPD to advance excellent teaching.
You know, I sit in a classroom, let's say in 7th grade, and I sit in this math class. Teacher comes in, and she just, you know, teaches us, and there's no effort to do it. She's not doing anything. She's just teaching, writing on the blackboard, and the next thing the bell rings, okay, thank you, and moves on.
They called it withdrawn. I called it disinterested. I mean, they thought I had all kinds of problems, and they had me seeing psychologists, and I was getting remedial math, and after all that, if there's something, it was my thinking that if there's that much wrong with me, why bother, you know?
In most places, schools are prisons, and the whole evaluation is based on a deficit model. He didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do something else. We have the opposite approach, and that is, let's see what you can do well. Let's see what you succeed in, and then let's build up what you don't have.
Educators spend a lot of energy worrying about the problems of so-called at-risk youth and creating dropout prevention programs. What is it about school that makes so many young people want to get away? And how can we create schools that students would actually like to be in? I think we've got some answers to those questions. I'm John Merrow. Welcome to Learning Matters.
The production and broadcast of Learning Matters have been made possible by the Lilly Endowment, Incorporated of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Additional funding for this edition of Learning Matters has been provided by the Ford Foundation. In the late 1980s, Tawdry Brown and Tony Luna were like many of their teenage counterparts, troubled adolescents. Intelligent and curious about many things, neither one was particularly interested in school. In fact, they were on the road to becoming school dropouts, a well-traveled road, incidentally. About 30% of our young people fail to graduate from high school. Among black and Hispanic youth, the dropout rate is an estimated 50%. But both have now finished high school and gone on to college, thanks largely to this high school in Queens, New York City. It's an experiment that's now been running for 17 years. A small high school, only 500 students, set on a college campus, where the high school students mingle with the college kids, as in this music rehearsal. At Middle College High School, students call teachers by their first names, and the most popular course is called Bongo. It's a good story. Let's begin with Tawdry, a talented but troubled young woman who had little respect for rules and authority. She began skipping school when she was only 8.
I just wanted to see. It started out as an experiment, okay? I mean, I got up, had my books and everything, and I moved to the last kid online, okay? So I said, if I get on the bus, then fine, I get on the bus. If I don't, nobody's going to see me not get on. So I didn't get on.
You're 8 years old?
Yeah.
4th grade?
Yeah.
One day you just didn't get on the bus.
I just didn't get on the bus,
What'd
right?
you do?
And I stood there for a few minutes. I mean, well, I ducked out until the bus left, and then stood there for a minute, and then I just walked down here.
To this park?
To this park. And I sat on the benches out front because I was, you know, this was an adventure for me. But I was still scared to come all the way in. So, you know, fear of the unknown, whatever. Because it was my first time in the park. So the first day I sat up front all day. And I started out doing this just, you know, I did it that once. And then the following week, I did it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, by Wednesday I was over here. Okay. And Friday I was down there on that bench.
By the river.
By the river. And it just became a routine for me. I did it 3 times a week.
That pattern continued into 8th grade. And even when she went to school, she followed her own rules, often getting up and walking out in the middle of a class.
It wasn't so much I had a pressing need to go anywhere. It was just, you know, this is boring. And it's funny that when you're 15, 16 years old, you think everywhere you go, people are supposed to entertain you. So maybe that was what it was. I don't know.
Tawdry Brown finally made it through 8th grade. Time for high school. New York City has a system of specialized high schools, science, the arts, and so forth, and students must apply. Tawdry, who didn't want to go to her neighborhood high school, heard about Middle College.
A friend of mine told me that if I went there, that I could smoke there and could leave whenever I wanted to. So I said, hey, this is it. This fits my schedule. I like to smoke. I like to leave when I want to. So I went there, and then I had to actually interview. And the interviews are done by students. I said, oh, God. I wasn't looking forward to the interview because I had a feeling that if it's a student, it's somebody from an honors class that I'm going to hate. They're going to hate me because those kids always look down on the kids that do what they want to do. So I get there, and she's asking me all kinds of questions. Why do I want to go to Middle College? Why should Middle College accept me? And I was pretty honest. I said, look, to tell you the truth, I don't want to go to Middle College. I don't want to go to school. But if I don't get in here, I'm going to drop out. So I got in. Maybe it was my charm, I don't know.
Tony Luna took a different path to Middle College High School. In junior high, he felt no one cared.
I just took school day by day, teachers never cared, and so if teachers never cared, I never cared. It's just, I sit in a classroom, let's say in 7th grade, and I sit in this math class, teacher comes in, and she just, teaches us, and there's no effort to do it. She's not doing anything. She's just teaching, writing on the blackboard, and the next thing the bell rings, okay, thank you, and moves on. And I'm having trouble, and I go and ask for help. I says, well, tomorrow, come tomorrow. And I'm like, I need help today.
What drew Tony to Middle College High School was the internship program, the school's requirement that all students work as volunteers at real jobs.
I saw the internship program, and that really, said, well, this is good, because if you do an internship and you go to your field, you will learn. As in sometimes in classrooms you don't learn as much, but if you at the job on where you're working at, you'll learn much. You'll learn everything better.
For his internship, Tony Luna worked as a tutor in the elementary school he had attended.
I used to take kids on the side, any kids that did not understand English or math or whatever problem was, and I used to take them in the back and tutor them. At the end, I'm like, well, now they know what they should have because of me, and that feels good.
Internships like Tony's were an important part of the original plan for Middle College High School, according to its founder, Dr. Janet Lieberman.
It's important because it teaches them all the skills that they need to know to negotiate the system, and it's an evidence of a lot of applied learning. They learn a lot of behavior out there that's very useful to them that in today's world many of our students don't have at home. They come from either single parent or no parent families. They don't have a lot of the experiences that teach them how to resolve conflicts, not just to walk away when you get into a fight, but to go back and say so-and-so and so-and-so, to learn how to work with other people, to learn what your responsibility is as a citizen, to learn how to help older people and younger people and all those things. And these jobs do teach them that.
Those are not the job skills. Those are social. They're
That's right. That's what
skills.
they are.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I think that's what's important because you can't teach that within the context of the academic day.
And according to Lieberman, the internship experience pays off.
What we found over a period of years is that they double the amount of academic credits after the internship. When they come back from working, they see what school has to offer, and then they get involved much more deeply.
When we come back, time for Bongo.
One, the parent should never compare the child to other children, siblings, or himself or herself as a child, or to the other kids. The aspect of competition, such that the child learns to think that everyone else is an obstacle to my own success, is got to go. That's first. Second, the parent can take an interest in promoting what's fun about whatever the child has to do. Third, the parent can try to emphasize caring and the caring community at home and in the classroom so that people are seen as helping each other and which is not only good in itself for the values that we hold dear, but also helps learning to be more effective.
A special feature of Middle College High School is the class known as Bongo. Bongo is a hybrid class, combining subjects, lasting for 3 periods a day, and let's let Tawdry explain.
It could be English and science or English and history or whatever. And,
In theater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it was 3 periods, 3 credits. So my friend said, come on, it's 3 easy credits. We'll do this, we're not. So we do it, and it couldn't have been harder to get 3 credits. I've never put so much effort toward getting 3 credits in my life. I mean, they teach you the difference between the slackers and the people that just die behind whatever they're doing. And after that, if you can make it through that, you have the discipline to try anything. You really do. You had to learn 2 different subjects, write the play, produce the play, learn your lines, and everything. There was no time to be bored. I didn't even know I was into acting until I went there, and I didn't know that I liked writing, but I didn't think I was any good at it until I got there.
I asked Janet Lieberman whether a course like Bongo means that her school believes in letting students learn whatever they feel like learning.
No. It does not at all. We fulfill all the requirements that the state has, that the city has, that to take all those examinations. But there are a number of ways of getting there.
But in most schools you take courses like math and physics. Here you take Bongo.
That's right. But in Bongo you learn about biology, and you learn about social studies, and you learn about oral history, and you learn about photography and the science of light, and sometimes you learn about environment, and sometimes you learn some physiology, depending on what the content of Bongo is. But the theme is something that the students are interested in: drug addiction, abortion, criminal justice, something that touches their lives. And then in the way in which the subject matter is organized, they learn all the skills that they need to, which then gets tested in a very formal way.
At Middle College High School, Tony Luna found the atmosphere he was looking for.
You had a teacher who cared, saying, look, Tony, you have a gift, use it. And they just kept saying that. It says, you could do this, you can do that. I'll help you anywhere I can. Just come. My door is always open. Anytime, I'll even stay after school with you if you need help. All that stuff. And that clicked me. And that said, well, this is great. And why not? Let me do it.
It's almost like they put this expectation. Say, Tony, you can do this. Almost like they left it up to you, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, oh, let's do this one by one together. No, they just said, you can do this, but I'll help you, but you have to do it on your own. You got to take the first step.
Are high expectations
Yes.
part of the trick here?
Absolutely. They're not part. It isn't part of the trick. They're basic to the success. We expect a lot of the kids, and they live up to it. I think that's a very important part of it, because they feel good about themselves when they succeed. What it is that we treat high school students as if they were college students. We try to take the environment and the climate of the college and adapt it to the high school. And it's based on the premise that these students in age, developmentally, are closer to the college-age students than they are to the junior high school. So they can handle this freedom, and then we give them the responsibility to go along with it.
Middle college will not give up. They'll stay with you until you're 45 years old and make sure that you say, don't give up, because, that's the type of high school it is.
Tony said, Middle College won't give up. They'll stay with you till you're 45 years old. By which he meant very, very, very old.
By which he meant 19. Yeah, that was one of the designs, because one of the problems with some of these kids, and the reason that they drop out, is they don't have enough credits, and they're beginning to grow mustaches, and they feel embarrassed about staying in high school. On a college campus, that doesn't happen. You can be in middle college for 5 years or 6 years, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to get out after 4. You can also get out in 3.
I mean, is this all carrot? Is there a stick? You said
the stick. The stick is, if you don't go to class, if you don't graduate. You are not an admirable member of our community. This is what we expect. You have let yourself down. You have let us down. You've let your friends down. We expect this of you, and that's the stick. And you can't go on, in a sense. We firmly believe that unless a kid has not only a high school degree but also a bachelor's degree, that he or she can't make it in this society.
When we come back to middle college high school, the subject will be discipline.
First of all, remember that the person who teaches your child to talk is the person that's teaching your child to think. And that's very important. Don't forget the importance of expressing ideas in words, of thinking through ideas, of thinking through actions before you do them. And children learn this from their parents. They learn it at home. And they learn it in conversation, and they learn it just in everyday activities. And that's really the second thing that parents can do. It seems so simple to just go out and do projects with your child. Just even take him or her shopping with you, or do chores, one thing or another, building things together, doing activities around the house, and let them hear how you think through the problem as you go about it. For example, well, we're having some people for dinner tonight. I'm going to have to go to the store. I guess I should buy this, this, and this, because I think we're out of flour, and we might be we might need to put some cheese on the pizza or what have you, but let them see how you use words to think through problems, and that will slow them down. Surprisingly enough exposure to this kind of thinking may help children avoid some of those attention problems we hear about in school.
Tawdry Brown qualifies as an expert on school discipline. She was an habitual truant and also no stranger to the principal's office before going to middle college high school. There, however, she found herself following the rules. I asked her for an explanation.
It's a very iron hand situation, but they're very discreet about it. I mean, it's like you're being led in the right direction, but it's not in a way that's going to make you angry or rebel from it.
I don't get it.
I don't either, but it works.
I think she's talking about the fact that we are very serious about the rules, and we really don't countenance much behavior which deviates from the rules.
You're being mothered, but you don't know it.
Well, that's probably true. I think that's right. But that's the caring part of it. I mean, she expresses it differently. I see it as an administrator and as a former faculty member and all the rest of it. She sees it as a young person who's responding to the adults. And the teachers take care of the kids. They protect them from danger. In some cases, they protect them from themselves. They certainly protect them from the society, too. But if they work in the theater or if they work in the lab or whatever it is, they're here till 10 o'clock at night. They're safe. And that's very important.
Tony Luna signed up for a second internship at Middle College High School in a theater and found his calling. Today, he's production stage manager at a theater in Manhattan, near but not on Broadway.
My job basically is to make the show run smoothly, call the show, make sure that everything is organized. I have to know everything that happens during the show itself. I have to know it from the first day of rehearsals to the last night of closing night of the show.
Is this what you're going to do with your life?
Basically, I'm planning to, I want to own my own business. I want to start my own production, start producing other people's plays and become a producer.
Where do you suppose you'd be without middle college?
I don't know. Probably just going from job to job. I don't think I would have turned into a drug addict or had 1 million kids or anything like that. I think that's how I see it. And I think I would have missed out. I met really great people in middle college. And I made friendships that'll last forever.
Tawdry Brown, now 21 years old, is living with her family in San Antonio, Texas, where she hopes to finish college. When we come back, you'll meet some students in their first year at Middle College High School.
some of the research that was presented to us in our investigation suggested that parents are providing 7 negative comments to kids for every 1 positive. So it really, for us to be more conscious about our criticism. Is it just out of habit? Is it what we had gotten? So looking for opportunities to really reinforce positive behavior. 2, engaging the kids in mutual goal setting. A lot of kids growing up today, particularly young ones, don't have a sense of starting and following through and completing something. And oftentimes are presented with something that they think, no way I can do that. For parents to take the time, and it means, all of this means taking the time, to sit down and work out a series of things, the first ones being maybe the easiest. And after a few of those, all of a sudden the child starts experiencing positive reinforcement that, gee, I decided to do that, and look, I accomplished it. Brushing my teeth regularly for a young child. I can move on to other things. And feeling the self-confidence. And also, 3, God, most of the people who would listen to something like this probably already know this, but of separating criticism of behavior from the person. Just because you do something that might really rankle me, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And I need to say, John, I really care about you, but what you did really was inappropriate.
Middle College High School seems full of contradictions, intellectual rigor, but casual behavior, including calling teachers by their first names. Attendance not required, but expected anyway. None of this surprises Janet Lieberman.
Underneath it all is a lot of theory and a lot of proven psychology, which is to say that adolescents need adult approval. Really, their major life work is coming to school, and they want to come to school. If you can engage them academically, if they feel that they're doing something useful which relates to their lives, and if they get some approval. They're the truisms of human behavior. They're no different for the adolescents than they are for the adults. So in most places, schools are prisons, and the whole evaluation is based on a deficit model. He didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do something else. We have the opposite approach, and that is, let's see what you can do well. Let's see what you succeed in, and then let's build up what you don't have.
The Middle College High School experiment, now 17 years old, is continuing. Today's 9th graders are struggling with the same issues: how to handle freedom and responsibility.
I was thinking of going to Norman Thomas.
Which is a regular high school?
Yes, in Manhattan. Because this school there's too much freedom, and I take advantage of the freedom.
Tell me about that.
That, instead of coming to class, I come in late. And first period class, I get out my house at 8 o'clock when I'm supposed to be in class. And, I learn stuff, and I do well in class. But other than that, I don't really come to school.
Going to another school, running away from your problem is not the answer. This is the best school in the city when you think about it. It's the best, and she wants to leave. I don't think she should.
What would I do? Well, I don't have that problem.
How do you handle all the freedom?
Pretty good. I come to my classes.
Why?
Because I want to learn something. I want to become somebody.
85% of all Middle College High School 9th graders eventually graduate, and 3 out of every 4 graduates go on to college. It's wonderful to create one successful school, but the real question is, can you copy that model elsewhere around the country? We'll come back to that question in another program. For Learning Matters, I'm John Merrow. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.
To find out more about this program, visit us at PBS Online at the internet address on your screen.
Additional funding for this edition of Learning Matters has been provided by the Ford Foundation.
Something else that makes a tune.
Funding for this program is provided by Annenberg CPB to advance excellent teaching. For information about this and other Annenberg CPB programs, call 1-800-LEARNER and visit us at www.learner.org.